Okay, so we're doing Lekutei halachot, right? We're talking about the first halakha in the Torah. Again, you need to get up like a lion.
Can you say something about my mother?
Sure, of course.
It's Rachel Bat Sarah.
What's it? Rachel
Bat Sarah.
Bat Sarah. It should be a Lilui Nishmat. Lilui Nishmat for Rachel Bat Sarah. And it should be a refuah shlema for...
Not refuah,
No. I'm adding. Also, Avraham ben Sarah Esther. And for Hinda, Rivka, Bat Chava. And Liliam, this for refuah? Liliam,
Bat Eni.
Bat Sarah. Okay. And Adina Bat Frecha. V'gam.
Michael ben Sivion.
Was it? Michael ben Sivion. Sivia. Okay, it should be a refuah shlema for every Jew who needs it. It should be a Yeshua. It should be an aliyat of the neshama for everybody who needs it. And B'ezrat Hashem, we'll do it tonight. So we're saying like this. The essence of getting up in the morning, is really the concept of getting up spiritually. That when you're getting up from sleep in the morning, that's a physical manifestation of really getting up from spiritual sleep. Okay? And how do you get up from physical sleep? How do you get up from spiritual sleep? So, Rav Yosef Cairo tells us, you need to awaken like the dawn. You need to awaken the dawn before the dawn awakens you. And what do we learn from Rav Natan that awakening the dawn is? Awakening the shachar. It means you are awakening the good points. Find the good points in yourself and you'll do tshuva. Find the good points in your friend's also going to do tshuva. Why? Because the good points inside of you are Mamash Hashem himself. And therefore, as soon as you find those good points, which is the light in the darkness, which is the shachar, that's the dawn, automatically you're reconnecting to Hashem. Right? What's the whole problem? Hashem is hidden from you. He's concealed. So how do you begin to reveal himself to you? You have free will in this. What's your free will choice? You can mamash notice the good points in your life and you automatically are connected to Hashem. This is what we said so far. And we said that this whole concept of finding the good is keneged the 10 types of song. Yeah, we know that there's 10 types of song that are all in Tehillim, right? But there's also 11 spices in the Corbin Note. So where's the difference? You have the 10 songs which are finding the good, but yet when you do Corbin Note, when you do the sacrifices, you have 11 spices. You should have 10. And we learn like this. If you do not have all 11 spices for the Corbin Note, if you have one missing, you are chayav mitah in the times of the Beit HaMikdash. You are sentenced to be killed. What is the main one that you would think would not be included in the Corbin Note? Chelbana. Why? Because it smelled terrible. So what do we learn from Rav Natan is the concept of Chelbana? Poshei Yisrael. The ones who sin. The ones who don't believe in Hashem. The ones who are not connected to Hashem. The ones who are not close to Hashem. The ones who are wasting seed. The ones who are breaking Shabbat. Right? The ones who say they don't believe. All of these things. He looks like Daniel.
Yeah.
How you doing?
This is that.
It's like Shmanuel. Okay.
Sandy Lyle.
Okay. So what do we have here? So Rav Natan says the Corbin Note is really the 10 good ones are the 10 points of finding the good. And the one that smells bad is the one who doesn't think he's good. And you need to find the good inside of him. And within you, you have these 11. You have the 10 good points inside of you, and you have the part of you that you think is not good. And you need to uplift and elevate that part of you, or the part of somebody else. We learned that what we thought was, according to Rav Nachman, was a chiddush, nifla, that you have a chiyuv to pray with Poshei Yisrael. That you need to make sure that when you pray with the minyan, you have in there people who are not keeping mitzvot. You hear?
Make sure.
Yeah. You should make sure that wherever you're praying with people who are not keeping mitzvot. Doesn't mean all, but some of them. Where did he learn this out from? It's a mefurash Mishnah, where it says you need to pray with Posha Yisrael for it to be considered a legitimate minyan. Interesting, right? You never heard this before. It's a Mishnah. Yes, I'll get it for you after.
I'll take your word.
Yes, it's in here. We did it last time, but I'll find it for you. Then on top of that, he says, this is Rav Nachman's Chiddush, it's in the word Tzibor. Tsadikim, Beinonim, Rishayim. You need all of them. So Rav Natan says, when you come to pray, you are the Beinoni. What are we learning in the Torah right now? That in order to get all your prayers answered and to eliminate all the difficulties in your life, you need to connect to the Tsadikim and the Rishayim while you pray, because you're the Beinoni while you pray. Why are you the Beinoni while you pray? Because we said that the Rambam says at every moment you should hold that the whole world holds in the balance of this one mitzvah. Right? Everything is right in the middle right now. You do one good thing, the whole world goes up with you. You do one negative thing, the whole world goes down with you. In fact, it's true. We all know that that's true spiritually. It's a fact. Okay? You need to think about that before you do the mitzvah. So you're the Beinoni, you're right in the middle. Who are the Tsadikim? So we said that there's two aspects of the Tsadikim, and we'll look at it again in the Lekutei when we review it real quick. You have the Tzadik within you, which we said is what? If you weren't here for those classes, you're going to have to try to follow. It's a little bit of a difficult concept. We worked through it for the past few days. According to the Arizal, you've already been here for many Gilgulim. In those Gilgulim, what did you do then, and what are you doing now? So the Arizal says, you've already perfected certain aspects of your spiritual self. Those aspects that you perfected in past lives, once they're perfected, they don't go down again. So let's say in a past life you struggled tremendously with sadness. Let's say in this life you don't struggle with sadness, you have issues with anger. So the Arizal will tell you why, because you're already matakin sadness in a past lifetime. And now what do you have left before Mashiach comes? Anger. Or impatience. Or lack of shalom bayit. Or lack of emunah. You know, whatever it is that you struggle with, or maybe all of them. You have not corrected any of them. So now you have to deal with all of them. Right? But whatever you have fixed, it's already established, waiting for you in Olam Haba. Okay. This is the good. These are called the Tsadikim that you have given birth to. So when you pray, you wanna connect to and attach yourself to the part of the tzaddik that you have already established in the world, which are those that have been buried in the ground. Your part, your chelek in the tzaddik, those have been corrected. Also, mamash tzadikim, real tzadikim that are no longer here anymore. So what do you say before you pray? What did Rav Nachman say? Attach me to all the tzadikim who are living, all the tzadikim who are interred into the earth, and to the tzaddik Yesod Olam, to Rav Nachman ben Fega. Then you are connecting yourself to all the tzadikim. Now, but we're learning another aspect. We're learning another component of who are the tzadikim in the ground. It's not just the tzadikim that we have biographies of in Beit Gavriel. It's also you. Past lives of you that you have fixed yourself. It's included in the tzadikim that are in the ground. So you can have that in mind when you're praying. And Rav Nachman says you need to rely on that part of you to get your prayers answered. Yes. That's the good points inside of you. Okay, those are tzadikim. What about the Rishayim? Where's the Rishayim? So there's two aspects. There's a part within you, and then there's the actual people in your minyan. Who are the people within you, or the part within you that's Rishayim? All your taivas, right? All your lackings, your desire for sex, your desire for food, your desire for excess, your desire for money, right? Your laziness, your anger, your sadness, your lack of emunah, your inability to control yourself, right? Whatever your own lackings are, this is the part of you that's Rasha. So within you, you have Beinoni, Tzadik, Rasha. You need to bring all these pieces together for your prayer to get answered. That's called the tzibur within yourself. So when you come to pray with the minyan, you need to bring all of you. The Beinoni that exists as you, the tzaddik who you've been, so to speak, in your past lives, your good points, that tzaddik, and also the parts of you that you're struggling with. Right? And you'll notice, what do you do when you do Hipodadut? You mention the good parts of you. There's the tzaddik. You talk about all your lackings. There's the Rishayim. And then you ask for help with everything you need. You got the whole thing. You got the tzibor in your Hipodadut. That's how your prayers get answered. All right. But Nachman says this is the concept of the land of Israel, that you need all three of these. Okay. So now, Rav Natan's going to say like this. Ushanu omrim prashat Corbin Note. Now look at the Corbin Note that we do. Ki'ilu ikravnum. That they presented the actual sacrifices themselves and we've replaced them now. Kola osek b'torat ola ki'ilu hikriv ola. All the people who occupy themselves with the laws of the Korban Ola, it's as if they're mamash sacrificing the Korban Ola right now. Why? Because the tikkun we bring about by presenting Corbin Note is established through dibur, speech. Right? We have to do Corbin Note. Sephardim, you have to do Corbin Note before you pray, right? We do it before Mincha, we do it before Shachrit. Now, how can it be that Chazal comes and they say a Chiddush Nifla? We don't have the Beit HaMikdash anymore. Don't worry. It's as if you did it just by simply saying over the Corbin Note that we did. Does that make any sense to you? It doesn't make any sense. Do you know how much of a production it was to do the Corbin Note in the Beit HaMikdash? It was like a movie.
But they didn't have the prayers that we...
No, they didn't.
That was their thing.
I know, that was their thing. They used to slice the heads of the animals off. They used to do everything whimsically, right? Everything was like on cue, on point. There was never a stain, never a blemish. Everybody was like clockwork. Something like a sight to be seen. There's books about it from non-Jews who saw the Beit HaMikdash when it stood. They said they never saw anything like it. Non-Jews said, I believed in God just when I saw this whole event taking place in the Beit HaMikdash. You felt God. So now listen to what we're saying. So the only way it could possibly make sense that we could replace the Corbin Note with saying the Corbin Note is if the essence of the Korban itself is speech. Because then we're still getting the essence, which is the speech itself. What's the root of Korban? It's karev, it's to mikarev, it's to bring yourself closer. What did Rav Nachman say? How do you get close to Hashem? By speaking to Him. So the whole point of the Korban is to bring you close. We can still do the point, which is to bring you close through dibur, through speech. And why speech? What is it about speech that's so powerful? The whole reason we're far from Hashem is because there's sparks of godliness that are hidden. They're concealed. They're in galut. The Arizal says, what is the main mechanism the Jewish people have to lift up these sparks from galut? The Arizal says this, not a Hasidic master. Right? We all follow the Arizal. We're Sephardi, no? The main way, he says, is through tefillah. Through tefillah. The Arizal says very clearly, the main reason why when you learn Torah, for some reason you can concentrate, or when you look at sports scores you can concentrate, or when you see that magazine you shouldn't have seen, you were fully concentrated. Yet, when you come to pray the Amidah, you can't focus for 1 second of it. Why not? Does that make any sense? How is this so different than anything else? So the Arizal says, you know the reason you can't concentrate in the Amidah? Because that is the opportunity to lift up all the sparks from exile. The greatest opportunity that you have to lift up all of the sparks of godliness that are in exile, right, for you in your own personal life as well as for the Jewish people, is when you talk to Hashem. It's tefillah. And the pinnacle of that is the Shemona Esrei. That's why it's so hard to concentrate. Now the Baal Shem Tov, he has many mechanisms for this. They're very deep, they're not for now, but just simply put, just to get a little taste of it, the Baal Shem Tov says you need to do something called sublimation. In fact, because he says that everything is Eino Milvado, even those foreign thoughts are from Hashem. So the question is, why is Hashem giving you foreign thoughts? If Hashem wants you to speak to Him, Hashem wants you to talk to Him, and He wants to have a fluid conversation with you, so why is He placing in foreign thoughts? That doesn't make sense. Why would He place that girl that you saw earlier in the day, who's not your wife? Why would Hashem do that? Yes? Yeah, and who's in control of the Yetzer Hara? Okay, good. So 1 second. So why is He doing it? So 1 second. So the Baal Shem Tov says something unbelievable. He says, in truth, wherever you get distracted in the Amidah, that's exactly where sparks have fallen in your life. Let's say that you get distracted when it comes to refuah. It's probably because you or someone you know needs refuah. So the Baal Shem Tov says, think about where you're at in your tefillah. Don't just move on. Where am I getting distracted? And now, you should take that spark because it's fallen, and wherever you're focused on, bring it back to Hashem. Let's say, for instance, you're thinking about this woman, right? So instead, like we said before, what does the Baal Shem Tov say? You're not attracted to her, you're attracted to her beauty. Because if she was 140 years old, you wouldn't be attracted to her anymore, right? Not usually, unless she was part of this generation where she could still look like she's 20 via means of technology, right? But in general, nobody is attracted to 140 years old. So the Baal Shem Tov says, picture her that she's 140, and you'll realize very quickly you're not attracted to her. You're attracted to her beauty, which she has when she's 20, which she loses when she's older. So what should you do? You should realize who's the source of the beauty. Hashem. So really, you don't want her beauty, you want Hashem's beauty. And if you realize Hashem only put a little bit of His beauty in that girl, He has so much more beauty than that. So then you think to yourself, Hashem, I want your beauty. This is nothing. This girl's going to be ugly in a few minutes. I want your beauty. It's so much more beautiful. Yeah.
The secret of the word yafeh. It's good.
Hey.
Hashem is
here.
Seeing, so to speak,
His beauty.
So you're able to pray for a girl's beauty, meaning I want Hashem's beauty through her?
No.
No, not her physical beauty. I'm talking about Hashem's beauty.
You're not praying, make my girl look real fine today with your beauty, Hashem. No.
That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying Hashem's beauty through her, not her physical beauty.
Her beauty is Hashem's beauty. That is what you're experiencing. When you see a girl and she's beautiful, you're not attracted to her beauty, you're attracted to Hashem. Yeah, it's unbelievable. You know how I know this? Because the Midrash says very clearly, Hashem brought, it might be maybe a Gemara actually, Hashem brought 10 degrees of beauty into the world, 10 levels or madregas of beauty, and He gave 9 to women. It's His beauty. He just made women look good. He could. Yes, that's why you look so good. Yeah. No, you look pretty good. Maybe you are one of the 9 degrees of beauty for the women.
I'm married right
Yeah. He gave one to Yosef, who looked like a woman, right? He had beauty like a woman. Why do you have to be beautiful like a woman? Because they got the 90%. They're shooting like Steve Nash at the free throw line. It's not like us, like Shaq. 10% we got.
The ones that usually look like the girl are usually like a figula.
Yeah, we're not going to get into all this stuff. Okay. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'akol niyah b'dvaro.
We're going this way, buddy.
Good. Okay, good. So now we're saying like this. When you come to pray, the essence of the Corbin Note is speech. So you still have that. That's why we can replace the Corbin Note with saying the Corbin Note, because that's the essence. Meaning, what is the Corbin doing? You take the animal that you're shechting. Why are you shechting the animal? It's in place of you. You did a sin, you did a chet, you did an avera, there's a blemish in you. You bring the animal. That sounds pretty inhumane. This sounds pretty archaic, right? Somebody from our generation would tell you, this is old stuff. This is what people who used to worship gods used to do. This is what people who lived thousands of years ago. But what does the Arizal teach? When you do the korban on the animal, you're actually lifting up the spark of you that fell inside of him because you did the sin. So because you did the sin, now you have dropped from the level of human to animal. So when you bring the korban, you bring the animal back up to human. And when you eat it. So he says like this, when you do Corbin Note, you're lifting up the inanimate to the plant to the animal, and the animal to the medaber. There's 4 levels. You ever notice that there's 4 levels of prayer? You know what you're doing when you pray from the beginning, from Corbin Note until the end? You're lifting up the inanimate level of reality to the vegetable level of reality, from the vegetable level of reality to the animal level of reality, and the animal level of reality up until the human level of reality. Meaning you're lifting up the whole creation. All the sparks that fell at the time of Adam Arishon, you're lifting them up, and they reach its pinnacle at the Amidah. And right after that, because there's so much shefa and you don't want any of it to get stolen, we right away do it. Because if you have no sins, then the Yetzer Hara can't take your stuff. And if you do tshuva, can't do anything with it. So what happens to the guy who does the Amidah and he runs out quickly and goes to work? It's a big mistake. So Tachanun, why are you saying Tachanun after the heights of the Amidah? I'm on like a high right now. Let's say you did Tefillah right. Let's say you did an hour of Yibodadu before. And then you come to pray Shachri. Wow, you're on fire. I did it on Sunday when I taught by the Jamaica States. Amazing, okay? All after the Amidah, you're like with Hashem if you do it the right way. Now all of a sudden, I'm sorry, we did this, we did that. Why the sages set it up like that? Do it at the end when we all came down and we have to go to work and we already hate our lives. Why are you doing it at the height of the Amidah? The answer is everything is Kabbalistic. They knew all the secrets of Kabbalah. When you do the Amidah, when you're done at the end, you have drawn down so much shefa to yourself and to the world. So the sages, Matakin, they established within the prayer service that right when that happens, the Satan can't touch it because you're doing tshuva. And the only way Satan can get you and get your shefa is when you sin, but you're sorry for this, I'm sorry for that. You have no sins at that moment.
Hashem is not being taken away from you.
No.
Hashem every single day gives us an opportunity to do teshuva, literally. Tefillah.
Yes.
He literally gives you an opportunity to be having a clean slate month.
Yes.
So what if you're not concentrating?
You need to focus. So yeah, it's very important who your chazan is. He doesn't matakin for you for this. You have to do it. But it is very important who your chazan is. Part of the way you're going to concentrate is by keeping these things in mind.
Are we talking about, like let's say I can read and concentrate, but I won't understand what I'm reading?
So you should practice.
Create your own language.
It's better to read it in English.
If you're able, there are certain parts of the liturgy of the prayer that you can say in your own language and you're halakhically valid, but there are certain parts it needs to be in Hebrew. So you have to figure out what this is. But I highly suggest whatever needs to be in Hebrew, you learn it and learn it well so that you know it. We have to do questions after this.
You can get the Orot book, which is in Hebrew, but it's English at the same time on the side. So literally you could look at the English as you're saying.
Yeah, they can do the transliteration. That's what he's speaking about. There's a Siddur with the transliteration. You can see both at the same time. Okay, good. So now he says like this. We have already seen that elevating the sparks of Kedusha is synonymous with elevating one's good points. It's the same thing. When the Arizal says we need to elevate the sparks that have fallen since creation, what does it mean? Lamase, Rav Natan says, lift up the good. You have a difficulty in your life. You have a challenge in your life. Something happens with your girlfriend or your wife. Something happens with your kids, chas v'shalom. Something happens with your boss. Something happens with your friends. Something happens in your life that you're not a fan of. When you find the good in that situation, you're lifting up the spark from that place.
In any given circumstance.
Every situation, every place. Let's say
Finding the good, what you find good might not be
it might actually be good.
considered by somebody else. That
So it's a truth at your level, and as your truth becomes more elevated, the good that you find will be more elevated. That comes from learning. Yeah. So let's say the truth, Torah.
like Gemara, Mishnah,
More Chassidus. More Chassidus. More Chassidus. Right? It may not be necessarily you learn a piece of Gemara and now your wife makes you go take out the garbage and you're going to go find a spark of good in that. No, I'm serious. I'm giving a practical example. But let's say, for instance, you just learned from Rav Nachman that you only go travel when you have a pagam and amuna, and now your wife says, I need you to go to a different state and drop something off to my family, so you know automatically Hashem is helping you fix your amuna. So it's a real thing.
when you travel,
Rav Nachman says if you have to go travel, it's because you have a pagam and amuna.
vacation. What do you mean travel?
No, you have to go travel. You just have to travel.
What's a pagam?
What's Pagam?
You have a blemish in your amuna.
Why? What's the connection?
We did this already.
Okay.
We'll review the Torah later. Rav Nachman said it's a very short Torah. Maybe we have time, we'll do it tonight if you guys stop asking questions. He says very clearly, when you have to go travel, a Jew only has to travel when he's in exile. It's a form of exile. Don't get upset, don't kill the messenger.
Like I want to go, or
No, you have to go. And if you feel like you want to go, that might also be a form of exile.
salvation, Rabbi?
Again, everything is your salvation.
What constitutes travel? For vacation. Like you go from one mountain to
You can, let's say for instance, you could find a job here, but you think you're going to make a lot more money if you go work in Brooklyn. So you travel 45 minutes to go to Brooklyn there and back because you think you're going to make a little bit more money in there. So Rav Nachman says that is a form of galut. You're there to fix your emunah.
That's not have to. That's more voluntary.
Again, so this want to is also, he feels that he has to. That's why he's doing it. Okay, again, we're gonna get back. You guys need to come to the classes. You can't come once every few weeks and then figure you're gonna understand what we're talking about. Okay, good. So this is lifting up the good points. Now he says like this. Ki nekuda tova, because these good points, when you cause them to rise from their lower levels, within yourself, within others, within situations, the essence of lifting up is with speech. Meaning, don't just think the good point, you need to say the good point. That's what lifts it out. Don't say to yourself, oh, David taught me this is Hashem now. Say, David taught me this is Hashem now. That lifts up the point. Hibodadu. That's all it is. We're lifting up all the good.
Just that mechanism in itself, the hibodadu, once it leaves your mouth, it goes up higher.
Everything with speech activates. Speech activates. Like I told you guys, when you have many negative thoughts, the Baal Tanya says, say sheker. He didn't say think sheker. He says say it. Sheker. It's a lie what I'm thinking. Why? Because speech is your system of activation. You're causing something to be real by speaking it out. Okay? Because in the beginning it was not clarified. V'nikar, it's not recognized. Hatov mechamat hara, the good is not recognized from the bad. Right? What was the whole original sin of Adam? That he ate from the tree, and all of the bad and the good became mixed together. So now every situation, event, circumstance in your life always have to have both. You understand? Every situation in your life always now has to have the good and the bad.
So when you see the good in it, you're really living Eitz Chaim.
But when you see the good in it, you're fixing the sin of Adam, because there is no bad. That's all a facade. It's a lie, which was caused by the sin of Adam. He caused the seeing of bad. He caused the blemish of the eyes. Again, if you were to see what Adam saw before, you didn't see any bad. He eats from the tree, which the tree is always a form of consciousness. Now our consciousness, our natural consciousness is now, I see good and bad always. So when Rav Nachman says, look for the good in everything, he's telling you, be Adam before the sin. Right, he fixes all the good. Right. But I'm saying that this is the tikkun. You take the good out of the bad. And this is what causes a person to go from mute to be able to speak. Again, many of us in the class, Benny, no side conversations. Many of us in the class have discussed that we have trouble talking. Right? I go to do hibodedut and yet I still can't speak. Why can't I speak? I made a place for myself. I made an area for myself. I made a time for myself. I know people who've been breast lovers for 7 years, 8 years, 15 years. They go an hour every day in the forest because they won't miss the hibodedut, but there's no words coming out of their mouth. Why can't they speak? Why can't I speak? They can't speak. They can't say anything to Hashem. People in this class will vouch to you that they have been in the woods or they came to do hibodedut, and for some reason they could talk their friends' ear off for an hour or for hours. They can't say anything to Hashem. I have nothing to say. I don't know, I have nothing to say. It's not true. You have a million things to say. Why do you feel like you have nothing to say? The answer is because your speech is in exile.
How?
You can't talk. That's exile.
Yeah, why? What caused that?
Because you don't know the good. You don't see the good. So
The good is the arousal to speak.
yes. So Rav Natan says when you find the good in your life, you're going to be able to speak. That's why the pasuk says, "Ne'alamti dumia," I became silent. I became mute with silence. Hechasheti mitov. For I was silent about the good. That's the pasuk. I didn't see the good, so I couldn't speak. Ukshemaglin etatov. But when we reveal the good, azai ikar hitkalutatov, which is the revelation of good, valito hu bechinat dibur, which is the elevation of the good through speech.
Good is speaking.
Yes.
And speech is good.
Yes.
And if you don't speak,
You're not connected to the good. V'zeh bechinat yonati. This is.
Speak that they're talking about is only a speak of seclusion, not like speaking with people.
It's speech with Hashem.
Yeah, because Ramchal is completely against speech.
With others.
With others, exactly.
So it's not just the Ramchal, it's every one of Chazal says that extra speech is not good. But every word with Hashem is good. You want to know the proof? You do a tiny dibur. That means you're not allowed to speak. But let's say you went to go into the woods to do an hour of Yibodah. Are you allowed to talk? For an hour straight. Your speech with Hashem is not part of your tiny dibur. Why not? Because you're talking to Hashem. You hear? On Rosh Hashanah, can you pray? But you did tiny dibur. There you go. Okay. Yofi, good. Yeah, okay, good. So now let's see if you do Yibodah now. So what does it say in Shir HaShirim? And we know that all the greatest secrets are in Shir HaShirim. Yonati b'chagvei hasela b'seta madrega. He says, my dove, who's in the clefts of the rock, in the concealment of the cliffs. Ze bechinat nekuda tova. This is the concept of the nekuda tova, the point of good. She bechinat yona tama. It's the concept of the perfect dove. Shetamim ma'im ben zuga. Why? The dove is called perfect because what is one of the main features of a dove? Okay, before you're... Do you guys want to know what is a very specific aspect of the animal that's the dove, that's different from other animals in the species? Other species. Doves, when they mate, they never leave their spouse after that. The rest of the rest of the dove's life, they never leave.
Noah sent out a dove. Looking at the good.
Okay. Why? Because it's completely faithful to its mate. It never leaves. And the Midrash itself compares us to a dove. Because Hashem married us, that's it. We can't I don't know, I'm not feeling her anymore. She's not looking so good anymore. We don't have that ability.
Even at 90 years old,
she's still looking good. Okay, also, you should know a beautiful midrash just that calls the people Yonah. Where do we get it from? We get it from Avraham, it says. A very beautiful midrash. One of the few times that I cried from reading a midrash. Guys, Roberto, focus. I'm trying to illuminate the good. Very good. We have the doves. Yofi. They're faithful. You see, they're right next to each other. Okay. He's a holy brother.
He found them.
Okay. He found them. Okay, good.
You know what dove is in Hebrew?
Yonah.
Dove, it's bird.
Oh, okay.
Bird? Bird. Oh, bear.
A bear. He's saying dove is a bear.
Dove.
Dove bear. Okay, Yofi. Okay, so listen. The Midrash, I read this Midrash and I literally cried. It said, why are the Jewish people called a dove? Why are we called Yonah? Because of Avraham. David HaMelech is speaking about a whole parak in Tehillim, and he's speaking about the dove. So he says, who is he speaking about? He says Avraham. Because the dove is the only bird that even when he breaks his wing, he doesn't rest until it heals before he flies again. He keeps flying even with his broken wing. I remember reading this. I was just like, it's so beautiful. This is what a Jew does. He's hurt, he suffers, he goes through things. Yeah. And he just keeps going. He just keeps going. He doesn't stop to heal. He just push. That's Avraham. It's beautiful. Another reason why we're like a dove. So that's the good point. The good point that exists in every person, even the least worthy, he says, even the greatest Rishayim, even the greatest Poshe Yisrael, is always attached to Hashem. He says he's always attached to Hashem. How is he always attached to Hashem? Through the good point that's in him. So you see a secular person, right? He has his multicolored wife beater on. He has his multicolored bandana. He is smoking jewels with his friends and going to Dave Matthews Band concerts and going to gay parades. And all of a sudden you're thinking to yourself, what am I going to do with this person? And you know what? I should pray with him. He's perfect to pray with.
Come on in.
Bring him into your tzibur. And then not only that, tell him there's good points inside him. I think it's really beautiful that you stand up for the rights of oppressed people. You know who's also oppressed? The Jewish people. You should learn about it. Not just homosexuals. We've been oppressed for thousands of years. Yes, that's what Rav Natan says. I'm not saying anything. Again, Rav Natan, the good point that exists in every person, even the least worthy, is always, tamid, is always attached to Hashem Yiparach leolam, forever, machol makom, in whatever place he's in.
So what is the punishment of karet then?
Okay, stop being Sephardic for a second and just listen. I'm giving you, okay. Punishment is for the end. Correct. No, that person can't do tshuva?
It can happen to you during your life as well.
Okay, so again, this person can do tshuva or he can't do tshuva? How's he going to do tshuva? You don't know, right? You're just focused on what's going to happen to him at the end. So we want to heal him. How do you heal him? Find the good point in him. Can I tell you for a fact, the whole reason I came back in tshuva is because nobody once judged me despite the fact that I was that guy. And everybody was only looking for the good points in me. Wow, David, you're so smart. It's amazing like how you think about these things. I never thought about it like that.
Also, Hashem does that with his children.
Of course, we all do this, but I'm just trying to say, this is what. Why do you think so many people come back to Chabad? Chabad has so much kavod for people who are not religious. The way that they speak to them, the way they give to them, the way they teach to them, the way they do everything for them. They don't judge them at all. They only search for the good inside of them. This is a piece of God. Oh, you do it like this. This is very Jewish of you, right? They only focus on the good. They don't say anything negative whatsoever. It's not a political maneuver. This is how you makar people. We learn that Avraham Avinu, the whole way that he nikayah.
This is what Hashem wants.
Yes. The whole way.
That's why it's taking so long for the Gul to come.
Yes.
Hashem just wanted his.
You got it. So go say the good. Go say the good. Look, you even. This is always you. You're always going to mechaven to the next step of the Torah. Ushehino felet, even if he falls, v'chas v'shalom, imkei klipot, to the depths of the klipot, ma'akifin otam mikol tzad, and they're surrounding him on all sides. This is the concept of the dove that is in the cleft. He's hidden there because there's a dove that's inside of that Jew. B'tachlit hastara, who is the essence of the hiddenness. Azai Hashem yiparach omer la, and Hashem says to him, Arini et ma'arich. He says, even though you're in the concealment of the cliffs, let me see your image. Let me hear your voice, because your voice is pleasing to me. Hashem, your image is attractive to me. He's speaking to the Jews in exile. I want to hear you, especially you, the dove who's in exile, meaning the person who's not connected to Torah at all. You, I want to hear your voice. And we say, when is Mashiach going to come? One of the main functions of Mashiach is he's going to cause to speak all that who are mute. So what do you think that means? You think literally it means those who can't speak. It means those of you who can't talk to Hashem, start doing Yibodah, do it every day. That's what it means that the redemption is coming. Those are the people who are mute. We can get everybody to start doing this. And even though you're in the concealment of the cliffs, meaning you're trapped in the klipot, you are very beautiful. Therefore reveal yourself, let your image be seen, since you are still beautiful. That good point is always inside of you, forever. Forever. There's no such thing as a Jew who doesn't have good points inside of him. In other words, find and reveal that good point. And this is every situation. I want to tell you something beautiful, okay? Listen, Mike. Yesterday, I had food poisoning.
Wow, that's a shocker.
Nobody else can do this? Find the good point. Laser him over.
Hashem, open the door for him.
Hashem, help someone open the door for Mike.
That just tackles him.
That would be epic if it was you. Just saw you flying over. This guy always has a very stylish scarf on. Okay. Ready? So yesterday I had food poisoning since Monday night. Monday night I had a class after the class with you guys, and I taught teenagers. And thank God one of the guys in the group, I won't say their name, they got them all tzitzit. They all agreed they would wear tzitzit for a month. These kids have never worn tzitzit in their life. They're all going to wear it for a month straight, thank God. There's like 20 kids, 25 kids. Amazing. I knew right away something is going to happen to me. You can't bring so many people up in such a quick way and nothing happens, you know? I teach you guys, all of a sudden I get sick out of nowhere. All the more so these kids, they're so far. As soon as I see those tzitzit, I start to get nauseous. I'm like, Benny, I got to go to the bathroom. I went to the bathroom, and I'm like, no, I'm good. I come to sit in, I see those wings, I'm like, Benny, I got to go back. I go back in the bathroom and I just start puking my guts out. I barely ate anything all day. Benny comes in, he's like, you okay? I was like, you got to teach the class. Avraham, I come in, he's teaching by the time I get in there.
And then a 30-second intro.
Yes. And then I kicked Avram out, and then I managed to teach the rest of the class. The guys loved the class. The guys came up to me after like, wow, that was amazing. I was speaking about exile and redemption, whatever. I was literally making it up as we were talking. I left, I went home. It was true. It was real. I didn't make it up. It was a real thing, but I'm just saying I didn't prepare the class. It was improv. I go home and I'm puking my guts out in the toilet over and over and over and over. Finally, I go and lay down in my bed, but I can't sleep because I'm so sick. I finally get to sleep. I wake up an hour later. I go back in the bathroom, puke, diarrhea, everything. The whole next day, nothing. It was mamash a tikkun. Okay? I go the next day. I'm sick like this all day. Then, in the middle of the day, my phone goes out. My phone stops working completely. I go to charge it. Doesn't even open. Nothing. Okay?
Then your doorbell.
Then I got a mail. My wife showed me a piece of mail while I'm like just coming out of the bathroom. I'm like pale white. She's like, look. I'm like, what? She's like, all of our kids were kicked out of daycare. I was like, what do you mean? It was a letter from our daycare saying that all the kids like are being excommunicated. They're not paying for the services anymore. I'm like, I'll deal with this tomorrow. Today's like not the day for me. Okay, whatever. This keeps going on and on and on and on. The kids are acting crazy. My wife is can't handle all the stress. Whatever. Okay, the whole day goes on, but every single time that I go to lay down in my bed, I say, thank you, Hashem, so much. Thank you, Hashem, that you made me sick. Thank you, Hashem, that I get to appreciate what it's like not to be sick. Thank you that even though I thought I appreciated what it is to learn and to pray and to teach, I appreciate even more now how blessed I am to be able to do that. How blessed you are to be healthy. Every single time I went to go nap, no matter how I felt, I'm thanking Hashem right before I go to sleep. Finally, before I go to sleep at night, I said to Hashem last night, Hashem, for 10 minutes, I'm thanking Him for the whole day, for everything. That my kids got kicked out of the gun, and I'm going to have to deal with it, and that I can't contact anybody, my phone's not working, thank you Hashem, my phone's not working, thank you Hashem, that my family's a mess, everything, that I'm so sick. Hashem, please help me to get up tomorrow and to feel great, to start my day feeling great.
Looking for the good.
I know, but you're distracting everybody.
The way of eating it, bro.
Just take a piece out like a normal person. Just take it. These are not the good points in the class, by the way. These are the bad points. Okay. So listen. My wife tells me, first of all, listen to what happened. I wake up in the morning. I felt 100% better. Like I never got sick. My phone was working perfectly. Okay? My wife tells me, listen to what she tells me. I want to tell you a chiddush nifla after this. My wife tells me, David, you should know, even though you didn't really do anything while you were here, even though you didn't really help me with the kids, even though you mamish slept the whole time, I want you to know, it made me feel very good just knowing that you're with me in the other room. Just to know that you're with me. Remember we spoke a lot about how women they can't take being alone. They like when you're with them. She said to me, even though you didn't do anything, you were mamish a schlub. You were a burden on me. I loved that you were here with me. So I want to tell you a chiddush nifla.
She told me the same thing.
Okay, yeah, okay. She never told you that. Okay. So I want to tell you the chiddush. Yesterday was a day of din. Who gives you the din? Yeah, but through the name? Elohim. What's the whole concept of Elohim? That Hashem is concealing Himself from you. But what is Rav Nachman teaching us? That even in those difficulties that Hashem is concealing Himself from you, just by knowing that He's there, it makes it good.
Elevated so
you just by knowing that Hashem is with you, that alone makes you feel good. Hashem's the cause of it. It's not happening in a vacuum. So I felt that was the chiddush from yesterday I got.
And that's what your wife was saying?
Yeah, that's what my wife was saying. That my wife was saying that she's like the Jew of Klal Yisrael. That even my husband, even though he's not doing anything for me, he's concealed from me. He's sleeping. He's hidden from me. Still, just the fact that I know that he's with me, I'm happy.
It's like Hashem talking to you.
Yes. You hear? You like it? You with it? That's how you find the good. That's called finding the good points. Hashem is with you. He's the cause of it. It's not just happening to you.
Hashem
What
talks
happened
to
with
the
the
women.
gun?
Working on the gun stuff. Working on the gun.
Concealment stuff.
Yeah, still in concealment. Okay, so let me finish this part. You ready? Phone works completely. You'll notice, by the way, if you thank Hashem for your problems, a lot of this stuff is going to happen. Okay, so it says like this. Rashi interprets who dwells in the gardens as referring to the nations of the world, meaning it is the sparks that fell into the gardens.
Oh, maybe that's another thing that should go to Hebrew.
This is the good points. Ooh, I like it. The good points that fell, and they dwell and they reside amongst the nations, meaning amongst the gardens and the fields. These are the spiritual blemishes that you have. They are the taivot that you have. They're called the nations of the world. It's not just that you live in America. America lives in you. Your taiva for food is called America. America. So what you need to do is you need to find the good in there and to pray to Hashem and to thank Hashem for the good in there. And then all of a sudden the good of America comes up with you. And you'll find out why you have to live here. And Hashem longs to hear the voice of all the good points. Because Hashem longs for the good points to be revealed, and this is why we're in the exile, because those good points have not been found yet. He's going to say later on that the Gemara says, why are we sent into exile? Only for the sake of converts. Rav Nachman's going to say, what are those converts? They're the good points that have been lost in the exile. We need to in the nations, we need to bring them back.
So it says 36 times in the Torah to love of convert.
Yes. Because they're all the good points that are lost in the exile. Meaning, how does your exile end? When you find all the good points inside of yourself. That's finding the convert inside of yourself, loving the convert inside of yourself. And that's why when you do Corbin Note, it says whoever occupies himself with the laws and says them, it's like he did it, because the essence of the doing is speech. Good. Okay, this is Lekutei Halachot. Yes. By the way, just that reminded me. I used to go to these Dave Matthews Band concerts. That's why I referenced the band. I've been to over 30 of those concerts. I'll tell you, reading a tour of Lekutei Moharan is like the spiritual, elevated version of whatever that was. Why? Because when you went to that concert, they're a jam band, so their songs were like 15, 20 minutes long. It's not like pop music, you know? And then obviously everybody's on drugs, so it feels like it's like an hour long. Yeah? And after every song, you're like, everybody looks at different, like, that was only one song. That reminded me of Benny right now. That was only one Torah. Okay, now we're going to move on to Lekutei Moharan. Okay, we have the elevator. We listed up the sparks. Okay. So quick recap for those of you who've been here, who haven't been here. And then Bezrat Hashem, we're going to move on and we'll finish the story by the end of the week, okay? Today and tomorrow. Yes. I just need you guys to help me find a babysitter. Okay, we're going to work on it. Bezrat Hashem. Now listen. We said like this. We all have difficulties in our life. We all have challenges in our life. And we mamish have enemies, right? There are people who are mamash trying to kill the Jewish people. Yes? It's true. Right? There was a guy at America, they just like blew him up with a missile.
What?
Yeah.
What? Where? Suleimani?
Yes. Suleimani, whatever this guy's name is.
It's the biggest like story of the
No, I
year.
got something else.
He wasn't in America.
Yes, I know. But I'm just trying to say, whatever. He's an enemy of the Jews. He was extinguished. So we all have enemies, whether they are external or whether they are internal. Every single one of us has many enemies. If you have anger, it's called an enemy. If you deal with sadness, that's called an enemy. You deal with lack of patience, it's called an enemy. You deal with poverty, it's called an enemy. You deal with the lack of a wife, it's called an enemy. You deal with the lack of children, it's called an enemy. You can't speak to Hashem, it's an enemy. All of these things are called your enemies. When David HaMelech was praying and talking about how the enemies are surrounding me, he was not talking about physical enemies.
Some of the angels.
He was talking about the points inside of him that are bringing him down. Yes, there's a lot of different points. But the Hasidic masters explain that all the enemies that David HaMelech was talking about were inner enemies. Enemies of sadness and anger and frustration and right, all of our challenges that we have, David had, okay? How do you get rid of those enemies? We said the only way to get rid of those enemies is through the land of Israel. What about the land of Israel? Meaning tefillah. We said earlier that the land of Israel is connected tefillah with koach. Meaning only with tefillah with power meaning when you're able to speak, you're not mute with Hashem, you find the good points and you can speak. Through that, you're able to overcome all your difficulties in your life. But how are you able to do that? We said only by finding and activating the schut of the Avot. Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. Right? Only by finding the Kedusha of Eretz Yisrael, which we can only do through Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, can we speak in a way that gets all of our prayers answered and all the negativity is nullified in our life. So the obvious question is, how do we connect to Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov? We didn't say yet. We're going to say tonight, okay? Then we said, what's the beginning stage though? How do you start this whole process? What's the first stage to overcoming your enemies? Rav Nachman says, only see the good in your enemies, and that's the connection to the Torah and Lekutei Halachot. Only see the good in your enemies. Why? What? That also, but also people. Meaning, let's say you have people who are giving you a hard time. Let's say that there are people who don't judge you favorably. Right? So they're giving you what's called ayin hara. What should be your response to ayin hara that you know is coming to you or you don't know is coming to you? Rav Nachman says, look at the good davka in them, and then spiritually you're protected from their ayin hara. Everybody hear me? It's not from the five-hand samsa. Yeah, it's not from chamsa samcha. It's not from your chamsa samsas. Okay, that doesn't protect you from anything. If you build a gigantic house for millions of dollars and then you put your hamsa samsas there, no, you're not helped. Everybody is giving you ayin hara. Okay.
Huge house.
You're giving yourself ayin hara, but how do you protect yourself? When you leave your house and you go like this to the guy and the guy gives you one of these, because you got your big mansion, and then you say, you know what, he's a good guy. Look how strong that middle finger is. Great dexterity in that finger. Nice angle, nice movements in his twist and his maneuvers, okay? You see the good in him. Rav Nachman says by seeing the good, you take away his ability to give you ayin hara. You know what's interesting? Yosef had no ayin hara. It didn't affect him. Why? Because he only saw the good in everything. He was in jail and yet he was dancing. His brothers sold him into slavery and he forgave them. Why? Because he saw the good in everything. So nothing ever interfered in his success in life because he only saw the good in everything. And therefore, what does the Torah say all the time with Yosef in his life? He's in jail, it says, and Hashem is with him. He's a slave, and it says Hashem is with him. Why is Hashem with him? Because he only sees the good in everything. No questions right now. I understand, so keep your pertinent question. Everybody wake up. What's a secondary effect that happens, besides the fact that you're protected from ayin hara? A secondary effect is, Rav Nachman says that Hashem allows you a window into seeing Hashem's justice. Meaning, until you see the good in everything in your life, you actively look for it. That's your hishtadlut. Until you look for it, Hashem is not going to reveal to you how He's good. You hear it? It's an unbelievable thing.
Can you say that one more time?
Again, listen to what I'm telling you. It's a very important thing. According to Kabbalah, there's no such thing as an awakening from above until there's an awakening from below. Meaning, Hashem is never going to show you anything until you do something. You do something, and now Hashem will show you something. Right? Moshe saw the burning bush. How did he see it? Why? Because he looked. But if he didn't look, he wouldn't have saw it.
How much you do doesn't matter, right?
No. The main thing is you do. Good question. So now what are we learning is your hishtadlut? If you look for the good in your life, meaning you look for the good points, then Rav Nachman says you're going to begin to see how Hashem runs the world. Hashem is going to show you how He runs the world. You're going to see that is good. You hear? So it's a mechanism. And now Rav Nachman says, once you see that how Hashem runs the world is good, then you're going to be able to pray. But until you see that Hashem is really just, you're not really going to be able to open your heart because you don't really think Hashem is good. You're just saying He's good. But when you see that He's good, because Hashem shows you He's good, because you saw the good, then you're going to be able to pray. Okay? Then you're going to come to real emunah. And then the last part that we said, listen to me, we just covered this a second ago. Whenever you come to pray, in order for your prayer to be the most effective it needs to be, you need to have the concept of ether ve'afar, dust and ashes. It's not by chance that Abraham, when he was pleading on behalf of the Rishayim of Sodom, that he said, I'm dust and ashes. Meaning, because I'm dust and ashes, you should answer me. So if Nachman teaches, what are these dust and ashes he's speaking about? The answer is that the dust, well, first the ashes he deals with. The ashes are the Rasha that's within inside of you, and the Rishayim that you're with. Ashes are the concept of evil. Meaning when you come to pray, bring all of the evil that's inside of you. I want to go waste seed right now. I want to go think about that girl who's not my wife. Right? I want to go do something instead of learning Torah. I want to go look at that website. Go and, okay, you're married. Chatzlacha. Okay, I'm just saying that there are people, they're dear.
What does single men think about these days?
Okay, and what are you dealing with?
Who, me?
Yeah, you have nothing you're dealing with?
Taxes.
That's actually what I'm dealing with right now.
Okay, so bring it to your tefillah. Whatever is you're lacking, bring it to your tefillah. That's what he's saying. This is the ashes. Everything. Everything. When you come to pray, bring your ashes with you. Bring the skeletons in the closet. We're going to see why you have to do this in a second. Again, just think about it. Where are you lacking in your life?
Speaking. You're saying, let's say hallelujah, and you're just like, thinking about it. That's good.
Again, right before you start to say the Amidah, obviously before when you go to do Hipodadut, you're telling Hashem all of your lackings. So that's the ashes. When you come to pray in general, in the beginning, you're doing Corbin Note, you should imagine that you're doing Corbin Note on all of your Averot. What are the Averot? Go crazy. You have 1,000,000, okay? Think about